Full power, Mr. Sulu. We need to disable that ship.
Aye, sir.
To boldly go where very few video games dare to explore or go, it's Star Trek on PlayStation 3. Star Trek was originally released back in April 2013, and what you're seeing right now is the PlayStation 3 version of the game. It's also available on PC and Xbox 360. Star Trek was developed by Digital Extremes and published by a whole group of things, starting off with Namco Bandai Games, Paramount Pictures, Bad Robot Interactive, KO Paper Products, wait, what? And of course, CBS Studios. This game takes place between the new Star Trek movies directed by J.J. Abrams, having you save the universe from the Dawn! Yes, the Dorn. Originally making their appearance in the episode Arena in the original Star Trek television show, they've come a long way from throwing rocks and being a sweaty man in a suit, it would seem. The story of this game pretty much as follows. The Helios device is stolen by the Dorn as the silly Vulcans and Starfleet open up a rip in space, letting the Dorn into their part of the galaxy. And one thing leads to the next. They of course then steal the device with the intention of using it themselves to go anywhere they want at any moment's notice and attack planets and whatnot, because they're big bad lizard people and, you know, it's what they do, I think.
Precisely. And as a doctor, you may be our only hope in defeating the Gorn. If you are able to discover an antidote to their venom, we could definitely gain an advantage.
Damn it. Chekhov, how much time do we have?
At the current rate of contraction, the rip will close in approximately 6 hours, sir.
Chekhov, I want the Enterprise back on the other side of that rip before it closes.
After you return, right, sir?
Whether or not we return.
Wait, what?
Captain?
That's a direct order, Mr. Chekhov. I will not have this ship and my crew left to the mercy of those things if we can't get out of there in time.
Aye, sir.
Spock, Sulu, Bones, with me.
Chekhov. I'm counting on you.
Bones, let's go.
Right behind you, Jim. Seriously, don't leave me down there.
You can either play as Kirk or Spock. For this recording, me and my channel partner Seraph played this game in co-op mode. I obviously went with the main man himself, Captain James Tiberius Kirk. As you go on a trek through this game, it's a pretty straightforward third-person duck-and-cover shooter in the vein of games like Gears of War and Uncharted. But does it live up to the legacy that is Star Trek? Let's find out, kicking things off with The Good.
Are you alright, Captain?
Definitely better now, thanks.
Going into this game, I didn't have very high expectations. Probably no expectations at all, really, considering how slammed the game was by major game critics. Most movie tie-in games are notoriously bad, and the only real reason I decided to pick this game up was because of how much of a fan I was of the series. And I thought the rebooted movies weren't half bad either. And also because of the co-op and potential fun with a friend. And in all honesty, I was a little bit surprised of how half-decent this game actually was and how much fun we ended up having. With that being said, as I mentioned right off the bat, you have a fully functioning and working online co-op system. But not only that, the game does what I strongly believe more movie-based video games need to start doing. Not trying to retell and redo the movie they're based on. This game has its own separate story from the two new movies going on throughout the game. allowing the developers to come up with their own original ideas and in the end, original story for the game.
Decreasing their numbers without being detected should be our priority.
Probably the coolest selling point for this game, and for any Star Trek fan, is in fact that it features the Gorn. The Gorn themselves are rarely ever touched upon or even mentioned for the most part in the Star Trek universe, so it's nice that they got a bit of a spotlight for once. The game also includes the cast from the movie returning to do their voiceovers for the video game, and I've got to say they did a pretty decent job.
Like a wormhole?
Something like that, sir. It appears to be a shortcut through space.
Where does it lead?
There is no way to know for sure, Commander.
I believe that rip is the reason my father ordered the Helios machine to be shut down.
Then we need to talk to him right away. Lieutenant Uhura, hail New Vulcan.
Aye, Captain. It is no use, Captain. We lost communication with them when the Helios machine was shut down.
Captain, scans indicate the rip is contracting. At the current rate, it will be gone in approximately 12 hours.
Good, the fewer anomalies we have to deal with, the better.
Captain, no response to our hails.
Mr. Sulu, bring us in range of New Vulcan. We're going down there.
But best of all, this game has tons of Star Trek references throughout it for fans like myself, everything from collectible triples, including a well-done reference to the Star Trek episode featuring the Gorn for the first time, Arena. It also does a really decent job at attempting to keep the gameplay fresh. Although it's primarily a third-person duck-and-cover shooter, it gives a number of ways to approach any situation in combat. You can go in guns blazing and hope for the best like any half-wit red shirt, or you can go take a stealthy approach and hit them before they even know what happened or avoid them altogether. You can also choose to kill or stun enemies with your phaser like any good Starfleet officer. As well as being able to fully customize and upgrade your phaser and tricorder, allowing you a number of different abilities like being more quiet and stealthy, or making your weapons more powerful. But not only that, a lot of the sections of the game are broken up with some pretty cool moments, like this teleportation puzzle solving part of the game that I thought was pretty cool. It's even having a full-on starship battle with the Gorn. And overall, the gameplay itself just works, which is more than most movie tie-in games can say. It's nothing new or exciting or genre-changing, but it just works. I can't really fault it for being another third-person duck-and-cover shooter that gets the mechanics right. But just because it works, doesn't save it from the bad. As I was saying earlier, you do some interesting things like spaceship battles and teleporting puzzles, but that's just it. You fight in a spaceship battle once. You do some teleporting puzzles once. Maybe you do some space jumping here and there. All this is just something to break up the endless duck-and-cover third-person shooting that takes up 90% of the game. Why wasn't there another spaceship battle or a ship boss or something? I mean, come on, it's a Star Trek game and we barely get to use the Enterprise. I'm assuming because of time restraints, since this was a movie game and all, and they needed this out when the movie came out. You know, like any movie game. At the end of the day, all this interesting stuff is just short breaks from the dull third-person shooting that we've seen a million times, and it really is just that, a shooting gallery against some really dumb AI-controlled Gorn. Which leads me to my next issue. The AI from the Gorn are really, really stupid at times, running out of cover randomly to run at you, from going behind cover that's like right beside you, to just standing out in the open like idiots. They aren't that bright. I don't know how these dumbass lizards conquered a single planet fighting like this, but apparently they did. Another big complaint I have is the checkpoint system. The game does not save when you collect a collectible. We had plenty of moments where we died or failed something after we collected an audio log or a tribble, and when we restarted the checkpoint, we completely forgot about the collectible thinking we already collected it. And since the game didn't save when we collected it, we missed it, and thus we had to restart the level when we realized we forgot it. It got really annoying, really damn fast. Some of the controls are also a little on the annoying side as well. The one swimming section of the game is extremely awkward to control. I also had plenty of moments where I wanted to roll out of the way, instead went into cover because it's the same damn button to action roll and to get behind cover. So you can kind of see how that gets really annoying really fast when you want to dodge something that's coming right at you, and instead you just get behind a barrel or something. But what's even more annoying is the ugly. where I discuss graphics! Overall, this game looks bleh. It's just bleh. It doesn't look terrible, but it sure as hell doesn't look amazing either. It looks like you'd expect from a rushed movie game. The character models look a bit awkward at times when talking in cutscenes, and the Doran themselves looked absolutely terrible and pixelated up close. But, graphics aside, this game definitely has technical issues. This is probably one of the buddiest games I've reviewed yet. Some of the bugs are pretty amusing and harmless, like making objects and people grow with the tricorder. To some more game-breaking bugs like enemies that freeze up and won't die, preventing you from continuing further, to even falling through the environment or objects, forcing you to restart the level. We also experienced a number of crashes and game freezes during our co-op playthrough, as well as more technical issues like the co-op level select screen making the highlighted selections go crazy and keep moving on their own for a period of time. Note, I wasn't pressing a single button on the controller and had to wait for it to stop before we could even choose a level that we wanted to play. This game clearly had no beta testing of any kind and was extremely rushed. I feel like if this game was a bit more polished, and more time and effort was put into it, we could have ended up with a pretty solid Star Trek game. Instead, we got an okay Star Trek game, plagued with bugs and technical problems. But hey, if you're still interested, you can find this game online pretty cheap considering it was a flop and bombed pretty hard in sales and review scores. I got my copy for around $10 on Amazon, and it's fairly common and easy to get a hold of. So if you're a fan of Star Trek, or I should say this, if you're a Star Trek fan who's also a fan of the new J.J. Abrams movies, and you're looking for a co-op game with a friend that's a little bit on the unpredictable side, I'd say give this a try. Overall, I'd give Star Trek. Kirk doesn't once get laid this whole game. What the fuck kind of bullshit is that out of 10?
Don't they ever give up?